It's impossible to ignore. Chad has brought it up. I've been seeing it all over Twitter. LaMelo Ball to the San Antonio Spurs. How do I feel about it? So to address someone in the chat, someone said that LaMelo's attitude doesn't fit with the Spurs. That is not what I'll be concerned with whatsoever, right? I do not care at all as far as how his personality will fit with us. I think his personality is fine. There's nothing really showing him being like a terrible kid or anything like that. I mean, if you guys can give me an example of him being absolutely uncoachable, please let me know. But let's just keep it real, keep it honest, right? I was never a big DeJounte Murray fan, right? And DeJounte Murray, I think his attitude is bad. I think it's worse than LaMelo's when it comes to franchises. But even he was able to, come to the Spurs and be pretty professional, on the outside. It seemed like he was pretty professional. So I don't really have a problem with that whatsoever. I don't think that he comes to the Spurs and it's going to be a huge issue as far as personality. But one thing that I am worried about is food that I have in the oven that is that's beeping right now. So give me 1 second. All right. Thanks for waiting those 10 seconds or whatever that was. Bro made lasagna for chat. It's actually carnitas. All right. I need some carnitas. All right. So yeah, what I'm actually concerned about is this right here. Okay. This. When was the last time we've seen a full season with LaMelo Ball? And I'm not, look, I might sound like a hypocrite. We have Devin Vassell and he's had some seasons where, he hasn't been here as much as we'd like. But I think this genuinely is pretty concerning, right? We just don't see him. He doesn't play that often. So maybe that's something that's changed now. Obviously, he's a monster. He's an absolute menace. I mean, these numbers, good God. And field goal percentage ain't the best, 43%. But when you're shooting 36% from behind the arc with 35.6% from behind the arc, averaging 31 points, and putting up 7 assists and a steal a game, we don't need to complain too much, right? Let's not complain too much. So like numbers wise, he is phenomenal. He's great. And even the amount that the Spurs will be paying him, right? So 35, 37, 40, 43, 46. If he's healthy, I don't think he's not worth that, right? I think he's worth that contract. I think Spurs do a good job of having players on descending contracts, which is kind of insane. You can see Devin Vassell's contract descends. It starts 29, then 27, 27, then 24, and then 27. They do a really good job of that. They did the same thing with Keldon Johnson. So they try their best not to overpay for people. So, but the fact that he's never available makes me a little nervous, right? And also this article right here from Bleacher Report saying that the Spurs would agree to this latest Bleacher Report proposal in a heartbeat. And on paper, this actually doesn't seem that bad, right? As far as the players, yes, heartbeat, right? Keldon, Trey Jones, Malachi Branham, heartbeat. That's easy. The 3 first-round picks are becoming really difficult to come by, right? So they're pretty worthwhile. I guess I would just be asking the question, which picks are we talking about, right? Because let's see, I wouldn't want to give up our 2025s at all. I know right now the Atlanta Hawks, they just beat the Knicks, I believe. So they're looking decent. Trey Young's doing his thing, but I fully expect them to have a fall off. And then we're going to have more than likely the best lottery pick throughout, hopefully if everything goes as planned, okay, unless we have like some freakish season where everybody's out, knock on wood. But this upcoming draft is probably going to be the best draft the Spurs have with their own pick from here on out, right? And we're still in rebuild mode. And am I comfortable with going all out on LaMelo Ball, who hasn't really shown to be super healthy, and giving away our 2025 pick? Because that's probably what it's going to come down to. It's probably going to be Atlanta's or ours, because those are going to be the best ones. I don't think that they're going to go for the Hornets, obviously. I don't think that that's going to be the case. I don't know if they're going to be like, yeah, give us our... I don't know, because this one might not even convey anyways, it's just their own pick. It would be kind of like, what's the point, right? Like, what's the point? It's protected 1 through 14. They're probably going to land 1 through 14 anyway, so they would probably just let that one go on to 2026 and become a second round pick. So I don't see a point in that one. Chicago is a little bit iffy. You know, they're going to want the Atlanta or ours, and this upcoming draft is a really good draft. You know, I'm just not one of those that gets super excited about, oh yeah, let's just throw out all our picks. Now, if we're talking about, here, let me go back to future picks. If we're talking maybe our own 27, right? Maybe our own 27, something like that. Maybe I'm okay with that. Maybe our own, I don't know. Maybe our own 28, right? Maybe if they want one of Minnesota's, I think I'm content with that. I think I'm pretty content with that, because you look at 2030, we have plenty, right? We have our own, we have Dallas's, and we'll be fine. We'll be totally fine. So I think those I will be comfortable with, a little bit more comfortable with, because I think around that time, the Spurs should be a pretty winning team. We would have had at least a couple seasons of developing some new guys that come to the team. We'll have star talent, and then at that point, you know, our picks aren't going to be worth that much anyways. You know, that's just my thoughts. But overall, I don't think it's worth it. I think you have Steph Castle. Not saying he'll be as great as LaMelo Ball, but he's on an upward trajectory and his career just started. And he could very well end up being an SGA type player. I just don't think it's necessary, right? I think it's fun. I think it's flashy. I think if we're playing NBA 2K, it's really cool. I just don't. I'm not bought in on getting LaMelo. Does that make sense? I don't know how you guys feel about that. At one point, we need to stop adding people, just develop what we have, no trades. Well, I wouldn't go that far, Adrian. I wouldn't go that far. You know, there's plenty of players on this roster right now that just won't be here. But I think after this upcoming draft, yeah, you'll have some really good players to start to develop, and Spurs should start winning pretty rapidly, I would think. Even this season, I think we get to 44 wins. That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it. And that's a huge upgrade from last season. So no reason to think next season we don't hit 50, 50 something. So just no real point. His stats are bad. Who, LaMelo? I think this is a pretty poor field goal percentage. I wouldn't say these stats are bad. He takes a lot of shots though, man. 35.6 3-point percentage, about 85% free throw percentage, 5 rebounds per game. These are actually really good stats. Are you talking about the turnovers? That is a lot of turnovers, but he has the ball in his hands a lot. And then defense, he's no slouch, right? Averaging at least a steal every single season. Last season, he only played 22 games, but nearly 2 steals. That would have probably went back down to his average prior, 1.6. But yeah, no Zach Collins. Yeah, Zach Collins probably gone. No, we don't have LaMelo when we just drafted Castle. Yeah, and I don't mean to have some recency bias, right? I do recognize how good LaMelo Ball is. Okay, as far as how great he is offensively, I don't know if Steph Castle gets to that level, but hey, maybe he could, right? I think that his upside is SGA. It could possibly get to that point. I think he will be a star. But LaMelo is he's on another level as far as shot creation, right? He's pretty nasty. But I'm just not a big fan of, let's just throw out all our picks. Like, we got some picks. I saw some people posting like 4 first-round picks. Yeah, let's just get rid of everyone and just give away 4 first-round picks. I just don't think. Think of it like this. I know that these seem like they're make-believe, right? It's like, they don't exist because we don't know what those picks are, right? Because, no one keeps. I'm not expecting anyone to keep up with like high school players right now, but no one really keeps up with who's in the draft. We could be in the middle of a draft and people are like, who did we just draft, right? Like, people don't keep up with it. So I know it's easy to just see it as a number and throwing it out there. But like, What if these 3 first-round picks, as good as the Spurs are at drafting, you can say what you want about them, but you can't say they're bad at drafting. These 3 first-round picks are really solid players, and they're going to be pretty decent picks, right? Solid players that also are, I don't know, half as good as Lamelo Ball, maybe 70% as good as Lamelo Ball. Now you have 3 players there that contribute to the team, plays a reasonable, smart, good role for the team, and now we have a dynasty type trajectory. I feel like with Lamelo, you're hanging a lot on this one player who hasn't shown that he can even be healthy right now. And it's not that he's not worth this. I think these 3 players, undoubtedly, right? But when we start talking about first round picks, I really think they're going to want those 2025s. I have a hard time believing, especially how good this draft is. I have a hard time believing that they're not going to demand the Spurs or the Atlanta Hawks pick. And I don't think that that's worth it. You know? I don't know. I know this is more of a guaranteed thing, but we do this every year, right? It's always like some player that you're like, he's good. We know he's good right now. And we don't really think about the draft picks. But keep in mind that our draft picks, that's the reason why we got Devin. That's the reason why we got Sohan. That's the reason we got Wemby. You know, you can't just say they're just picks. People kind of had the same mentality when I was preaching, and a lot of us were preaching that the Spurs should just straight up tank. It was like, just tank. I want us to lose. I don't know why fans are upset that we're losing. We need to lose. Wemby's in the next draft. And everyone was like, there's no guarantee that you get Wemby. And it's like, I do not care what the guarantee. He is on the board. We have a chance. Don't screw this up by winning. That's all I can. Just don't screw this up. This team we have right now is not good enough to do anything. Do not screw this up. So, yeah, I don't know. First round picks are important. That's all I really have to say. Zach Collins trash. I'm off the Zach Collins train. Okay, I will leave him to the Wolves. You guys want to attack, you can attack. I don't really have much to say about Zach Collins at the moment. Getting an ejection was the last straw for me. I couldn't deal with that. I'm like, okay, all right. Morale is off. I don't know what's going on. Hey, by the way, someone mentioned that Castle, because we can upload. Let's upload this segment before the game. Someone said Castle isn't playing. What's the injury report? We'll let the people know what the injury report is for tonight, technically, because it's be uploaded tomorrow. Yeah, do you guys know the injury report? Yeah, he's out tomorrow, shoulder. Okay, so let's see if I can find this injury report. The Witcher 4 already has a trailer? What? I haven't even played the other Witcher games, so I don't know why I'm excited. But what? Game of the year? What the heck is going on? Is there an event today? All right, let's see. Here we go. All right, so Castle out, which is kind of crazy. Like I said, it was amazing that he got hurt and went back into that game. It looked like it was season ending, but apparently he's okay. Zach Collins is out, and that might be a minute. They're going to be really careful with Zach Collins. Let's see. Ingram. Oh, Ingram's out because of two-way. Makes sense. And then obviously Trey Jones is out. All right, so the big ones is Collins and Castle. We can still win. We're fine. Still got Devin playing. Still got Wemby. We'll be all right. Still got Chris Paul. We're going to be missing that defense. But we do have Sohan. So it's all hurting. It's really too much. What do you mean? Zach Collins looks like an 80s antagonist in a movie about billiards. I am completely lost with that comment. I hope Ingram makes regular rotation next year. Yeah, I stick to my opinion that I think Ingram is a perfect backup at the small forward position. I don't think that he's a starter or anything, but the way that he plays, the fact that he started off his basketball career, at least in college, as more of a Tyreek Evans type player, right? Getting other people involved, you know, big playmaker. And then he transitioned to North Carolina and became more of a 3-and-D type player. I think there's a lot of versatility to his game waiting to be unlocked. He's going to be pretty doggone good. Witcher 4 trailer, let's go. Should I play Witcher? Maybe I should go back and play Witcher. Like Witcher 3. Obviously, I wouldn't play the first two. Let me just skip to 3. I've never played it. I think I have that game, though. I might have it. I don't know. You guys convinced me. I'll take a look. All right. Anyways, that's the segment. So, long story short, I don't want LaMelo Ball. And is he worth this? Undoubtedly, right? He's obviously worth that. But I think it's a little bit of a risk for the Spurs. And especially when we have some really great or a really great draft coming up. What's the point? You know, just play your cards right. If you make a trade, let's not do something too big right now. It's not necessary. I think this is one of those situations where patience with a little bit of urgency is going to get us a lot of, like, really far. But just urgency won't get us very far. So it's just, everyone loves Steph Castle right now. Keep in mind, at one point, he was just a number. It was just a first round pick. No one cared about it. People years ago were like, why don't you just trade away your picks and get this player? Why don't you just trade away your picks and get this player? Why don't you just trade away your picks? And it's like, yeah, well, if you kept doing that, you don't get Castle, you don't get Wemby, you don't get Sohan. Yeah, you gotta be smart. And now picks are worth more than they've ever been worth. So be smart with them. Be smart with them. And I don't want to give anybody anything from 2025 unless actually, funny enough, it's the Hornets one, because I'm just not sure if it's going to convey anymore. That's it. I'm super optimistic. Stay the course, and we have championship contention within 3 years. It's going to, yeah. The Spurs are going to be a legitimate contender, I say, in the next year or two. We're going to be pretty sick, especially with this draft. I really do believe in it. Oh, I'm sorry. They had it right here. I'm so dumb. Oh, I'm so dumb. I'm glad that I caught this before the segment ended. Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, Malachi Branham, a 2025 first round, and 2 2027s. Yep, I knew they wanted to get rid of the 2025. Hold on. Which 2025? How much you want to bet it's the Hawks? Well, hold on. (2027) unprotected Atlanta Hawks. 2027 unprotected for us. So we wouldn't get any. I know. Well, by 2027. I think the Spurs should be pretty doggone good. I guess it's a matter of where you think Atlanta is going to be at that point. Actually, this doesn't look that bad. This actually doesn't look that bad. I stick to what I say because I don't think that this is going to happen. I don't think they're going to be like, yeah, 2025 protected. I don't think so. And if it's ours, our own protected, dude, we're going to get that. That's going to be ours. I don't think that that's true, but I guess it convey into the next year. That's actually not too terrible, but I still don't go for it because I don't think that it'll come down to that. I don't think LaMelo fits the Spurs org. It's just unnecessary. That's all I gotta say. It's just unnecessary. I don't care. I don't know. Clan, I don't know why you value picks so much. Keldon is a top 10 worst NBA contract. Keldon Johnson? Look, I told you I'm not the biggest fan of Keldon's play for the Spurs, but Keldon is not overpaid. NBA player contracts. He has a really good contract. Let's see. Where are you, Keldon? Where are you, Keldon? Isn't he in the... What am I doing? I could just do this. There we go. Dude, this is a really great contract. What do you mean? Colin Sexton is on a pretty good contract too, I think. Let's see. He's making the same amount as Harrison Barnes, Norman Powell. He's about where he's supposed to be. Rui Hachimura, Zach Collins. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think this is a bad contract. Why don't they have Alonzo's next year on here? I don't know. Derek White's contract is pretty great, but he's about to make a lot of money. And I don't think Keldon gets to this. I mean, obviously he doesn't. Right? Keldon's at 19. Derek White's at 20, but Derek White's about to jump up to 30. And Keldon Johnson is jumping down to 17. So, no, he's making the right amount. I don't think he makes any less than what he's making, to be honest. I feel like anything less for Keldon Johnson for what he can bring is a little disrespectful. Yeah, I don't think he's overpaid. And Keldon's one player that I feel like doesn't fit with the Spurs, right? We've had Keldon for a super long time. Keep in mind that a lot of players in these drafts don't last the way that Spurs players last, right? I think the Spurs do a really great job of developing players and making them pretty doggone good. So a lot of players, don't. So our draft picks are very valuable. You get a lot of utility out of it. How do we feel about Jimmy Butler? I love Jimmy Butler. I haven't heard any talk about him being traded to the Spurs. Keldon has horrible defense. I don't know. Oh, his defense sucks. Yeah, his defense sucks, right? But like 17, especially with the new contracts that's coming in the NBA and how much money guys are like really about to ramp up and make, this is nothing. 17 is nothing. Keldon been hating on KJ for a hot minute now. Look, I'm talking to the chatter said that he's not worth 19. I think that's kind of disrespectful towards Keldon. I think he's definitely worth that. I would never make the argument that Keldon's overpaid. That's crazy. I don't think that at all. 19. This is a deal. This is crazy. 17 million. That's crazy. And they also gave him that deal because it makes you really tradable, man. You know how easy it would be to make a trade? It's not going to take too much convincing with that contract. So that's usually the issue with certain players. You overpay them, and now you can't move them. So if they wanted to move Keldon, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. Just got to make sure you get enough out of it. Castle, for sale, Poole, Trey, guard rotation. Jordan Poole? All right, we're getting off this. We talked about Lamelo. I'm not going down the rabbit hole of Jordan Poole, okay? I do not want Jordan Poole. What? No, we're not doing that. No Poole. Yeah, no Poole. I don't know why we would want Jordan Poole. Lamelo Ball at least makes sense. And looking at this contract, or not the contract, this proposal, this is a good proposal. I just don't know if they go for a lottery protected 2025. That's just not going to convey. Like, why? It's not going to convey. Poole is good, but his vibe is not good. Poole? The F? Yeah, a lot of people actually want Poole. I've been seeing that a lot too. LaMelo Ball makes nano sense. It's just fun to think about. That's all it really is. Just fun to think about. But no, it's not necessary. I don't know. Clan, are you worried about Wemby's back injuries? I don't know if you talked about it already. Nah, I ain't worried. Ending segment.